Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to another review video here on the channel, this time for The Last of Us Part 2. Now, there are a lot of different opinions out there about whether the game's good, whether the game's bad, whether it's somewhere in the middle. My goal here is more to let you know what my experience was and let you know, or at least maybe help confirm for you, whether or not this game is the right game for you to play, if this game is worth your time. So let's get into the review. Just a reminder of what our normal criteria are for judging games and reviewing games. First, we're going to judge it on its fun factor. Is it fun? Is it not? We'll let you know. Criteria number 2 is strengths of the game. So what is the game strong at? What is it good at? These are the things where if you like the strengths of the game, if those are the things that really pull you into a game, this is going to be the right type of game for you. Criteria number 3, as always, time investment. Is the game worth it? The amount of time you're going to put into it, are you going to get what you really want out of a game? We'll let you know. And 4, who would I recommend the game to? If you haven't already been convinced by the first 3, if you fall into category number 4 and probably who I would recommend the game for, might be worth a look. So let's start with criteria number 1, fun factor. Now, overall, the game is definitely fun. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed my time playing the game. It was fun. Legitimately fun. Kind of in an overall state, but definitely it was a fun game. If you enjoy games with a horror element, if you enjoy third-person shooters, if you enjoy games that are very story-heavy, and honestly, if you enjoy games that are just really pretty and immersive, definitely a game for you. It was a lot of fun. All of those things made it just a fun time to be in the game. Criteria number 2, strengths of the game. Already kind of touched on them before, but as a reminder, the strengths of the game, definitely one of the main strengths has to be, and probably its greatest strength, in my opinion, is kind of the immersion level of the game. Graphically, it is very, very pretty. 2, in terms of the story is a very strong story. It's definitely a strong story, and it is definitely going to pull you in most of the time. In terms of varied gameplay, in terms of voice acting, in terms of actual mechanics of the game as you're running through, exploring, finding different bits, the game is going to pull you in, and there aren't any sort of jarring, weird mechanics or really moments that it's going to be hard for you to kind of go, oh, wait, that wasn't what I wanted to do. You know what I mean. Kind of along those lines with point number 2, another strength of this game would definitely have to be its combat. There are a lot of different weapons. There are a ton of different enemies. There are a lot of different areas where they set up these fights. So you're not going to be having the same fight over and over and over again. Most of the fights, you're going to have to approach it from at least a slightly unique way. They're going to throw some wrinkle at you where you're going to have to do it a little bit differently. Going along with that, Abby and Ellie play differently. You are going to play 2 different characters, and it's not just the weapons that they have where they're different enough. Some of them are completely different, but also the strengths of the individual characters do definitely come out. While it might not be so necessary at easier difficulty levels, if you are playing it on a higher difficulty level, you're likely going to have to adapt to this different playstyle from the different characters. So while it is a strength, it's definitely something to keep in mind. And finally, 3, the third, in my opinion, the third greatest strength of this game is definitely the story. It is a very strong story. It is, to kind of go along with that, it is definitely an emotionally draining story as well. A lot of these characters you are definitely going to feel for. You are definitely going to connect with at least some of these characters. You're going to be able to understand some of their motivations. It is something that will pull you in. So be prepared for that. It's definitely a strength, but be prepared for that. And on to criteria number 3, time investment. Now, this is where I want to slow it down a little bit for those of you that are weighing your options as to whether you want to play this or not. Hear me out. So, in terms of the actual time you're putting into the game, it will be a pretty decent chunk of time. This isn't a short game by any means, and because it is a little bit more of a linear game, you are going to have to go through all of the different aspects, all of the different beats of the story to complete the game. Now, it being a little bit more linear is definitely a strength of the game when it comes to time investment, because if you are someone who has to break up your play sessions, you don't have, 18 to 20 hours to just sit down and play the game, that's fine. This game I found was a very easy game to play for a little while, put down, come back to in a week, and play again. This was a game that I mostly just played one day a week. Sometimes I would play them back-to-back days, and it was still very easy for me to play for about 4 hours, stop, switch to a couple different games, and then come right back in a week and almost immediately pick up right where I left off. It's very easy to do that. Now, the big factor is that whole time investment, because you do spend a good amount of time in this game, although it is quality time, is it worth it for you at the end? In my opinion, it was not completely worth my time. I did struggle with how the game ended. Obviously, no spoilers, but the ending of the game left me honestly scratching my head. It was a feeling of, what? It left me wanting, but not in a way that's good. Not in a way that would have me looking forward to a sequel. Not a feeling that would have me looking forward to more stories in this universe, which was definitely a letdown compared to the ending of The Last of Us Part 1, because Part 1 left me wanting more of this universe. That's why I started playing 2 immediately. I wanted more. So, yes, it was a good game, but again, the ending, the way it ended has definitely stuck with me in the weeks since I finished the game. So overall, time investment, just to recap, big investment, payoff may or may not be worth it for you, depending on how you are. And again, as always, there are no spoilers here. I'm not going to spoil anything. If you want to look up what the ending of the game is, you're welcome to do that. But if that part of it specifically doesn't matter to you, then hey, there you go. Didn't matter anyway. And finally, criteria number 4, who would I recommend this game for? As I kind of mentioned at the top, I would recommend this game highly for anyone who's into third-person shooters with any sort of horror element. I would recommend this game for people who are really, really interested in searching the worlds to find all of the little clues, to find all of the little pieces of lore. This game does a very, very good job of doing that, and it makes all of the areas feel worth kind of looking around and exploring. There might not be an item that you need to pick up, but there's a little piece of the world that's going to help tell the story, or at least make you think about a story that could have potentially happened in that particular area. Obviously, anyone who is up for a bit of a challenge can try it on a harder difficulty. I know that Naughty Dog has talked about a lot of tools that they put into the game. Now, I haven't explored any of those tools at all in terms of enemy spawns or anything like that, but that is something to note as something where if you enjoy digging into games on that level, maybe playing them for like a charity stream or something like that, where you can ramp up the difficulty to some insanely high difficulty level, that might be something that you might be interested in. Now, with who I'm recommending this game for, I have a couple notes with that as well. One, if you are not a fan of very realistic and very gory violence, this game is going to hit you very hard, and it may not be something that you're able to stomach so well. If you're used to playing video games, you get video game violence. It's a thing that happens, and for most people, it's not something that really affects anybody in any way because it's just a video game. That's part of it. It's the escapism. But not the violence in The Last of Us Part 2 is a little bit more realistic. They do a great job with the audio. They do a great job with a lot of the finishers and the variations with, you know, how you are eliminating enemies. But it brings a little bit more of that realism in there. So it is something that I know for a fact that some people will not like. One other very, very important note. Yes, the dog dies. There are dogs. They do attack you. And unless you can find a way past them without triggering an actual fight, you will have to kill them to move on in the game. It was something that bothered me so much when I was playing. It almost took me out of it a couple times. You could even ask chat. It was I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I understand why it happened in the story, but I hated it so much. It was just I hated it. And I know people were saying that that was something that they really truly hated. So if you're anything like me and you hate hurting animals, hey, it's definitely, it's something where it happened enough that it's something you might want to keep in mind. But to recap point number 4, I recommend it for anyone who enjoys third-person shooters, with a horror element. And one point I do want to add, definitely anyone, if you are one of those people who is like me and you finished The Last of Us Part 1 and hearing about Part 2, you went, I need to know more about the story. I need to know more about these characters. I need to finish the story. It is definitely worth looking at. If some of the negative points about this game that I have pointed out aren't deterring you at this point from playing Part 2, then I will say, especially for you, definitely just go play it. If you're able to pick it up and you're able to put the time into it and play it and experience the story, it is worth seeing the story as it's been written. But there you have it. That is my review for The Last of Us Part 2. Again, quick summary. Great game. Really great game. Ending could have made it that much better. Could have elevated it to excellent, in my opinion. But hey, I don't regret the time I spent playing on it at all. Really good game and an excellent experience. So that's going to do it all for my review of The Last of Us Part 2. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I appreciate you so much. It means a lot to me that you're finishing off the video. If you enjoyed it, if you liked this video to this point, make sure to hit that like button. That way, I know for sure that you definitely enjoyed this video, and I will work to make more of these videos for you guys. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you're notified of whenever these videos go up. For now, the schedule is mostly Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can expect new videos here on the channel. With all that said, thank you so much again for watching, and I will catch all of you next time. Bye, loves. Could have gone worse. Could have gone worse. All right, that's gonna do it all for chat, stream. Awesome. 10 out of 10. Great game, by the way.